fantabulous, amazing, spectacular, blissful, peaceful, happy day. If you're watching this today is Monday, November the 11th. I only remember that because I have a major project due tomorrow. Today is Monday, November 11th, 2025. And if you are new, welcome in. My name is Nia, aka B Legend, owner and founder of BLegendBotanica. If you are returning, you already know what is going. All right, you guys know I had to hop in. I just wanted to hop in and give you guys a quick message. We have some tarot and some oracle this time. Granted, the last live I almost did not post that because I was not feeling so hesitant before I got on the live, and then when I got in front of the live, and it really wasn't until people started coming in and commenting, then my brain was like, no, 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 no. But that's neither here nor there. You know, we're back and we're better. Okay, you already know how this goes. But it's just to give you guys like a little quick downloaded message, like from that message from the playback. You guys know I watch everything back. I take that very seriously, just to make sure that things are flowing and making sense. In the past few weeks, I'll say for about like the past month, we've been talking about getting out of individualism and really embracing our communities, right? Embracing the people around us, embracing the groups that your spirit team has deemed, you know, aligned with you and your energies and the things that you're working towards right now. So of course, coming out of being a hyper individual, being in community feels uncomfortable. You feel like you almost have a target on your back because you feel like you're being constantly watched. And when, to a certain extent, yes, this is true, but to another extent, these are projections that you put onto yourself because you literally watch and surveil yourself like 29/8. So spirit number one wants us to know, and I got a message that fell out. Spirit wants us to be graceful with each other. What's up, David? Spirit wants us to be grateful, not grateful, graceful with ourselves and the way that we handle ourselves. What popped out was mantra medicine, command, song, incantation, and containment. I'm going to go ahead and get this one out the book. But I also, before I get it out the book, I do want to get my intuitive message out as far as being in community and really judging yourself harshly. I had a conversation with one of my uncles last night, and he was telling me like it's supposed to be F everybody else, never F yourself, because once you start saying F yourself, you don't have anything left. Like, you don't have anyone left. When these people start to look a little to you, you know, you want to be able to come back to self, right? Self should be your safe space. Self should be your home base, your home ground, right? Your go-to, your sacred spot. In the book Mantra Medicine, it says the power of the spoken word is one of the earliest forms of natural magic, and yet not all who speak can master this divine gift. Our first cry at birth commanded our presence into existence, declaring to all with ears to hear that we had arrived from the other side. As we age, we come to learn words and the power they have when we use them in communication and command to reason. Ooh, this is a long sentence. Let me go back and reread this. As we age, we come to learn words and the power they have when we use them in communication and command to reason, question, and theorize in the world that we live in. With the words we chant our invocations, speak our spells, and pray our mantras into self-existence. Like the element of air, words are neutral until they are fueled and used with emotions and intent. Like the element of air, words are neutral until they are fueled and used with emotions and intent. Our very words bring laws into place, peace to communities, and happiness to our families and friends. When we sung our words, oh Lord, I can't read today. Oh Lord. Our very words bring laws into place, peace to communities, and happiness to our families. And when sung, our words become something else altogether. Do you see how powerful our words can be? They can liberate and constrain, as well as bring joy or pain as we choose. First of all, there's two things. Number one, Spirit is saying be nicer to yourself. What's up, guys? What's up, Duo Brothers? What's up, Jordan? Shout out everybody in the chat. Number one, Spirit is saying be nicer to yourself and be more compassionate to yourself. Also, the fact that when I was reading the message behind this card, I got like stomped up several times or distracted, right? To say the to like for lack of other terms, I got distracted or just stumbling, right? So this is for the people that tend to overthink and or ruminate, and where your thoughts are just kind of moving fast like this. Like it can be racing thoughts, but for others of us, this happens a lot when we tend to disassociate, right? When we start to disassociate, you can sometimes have 5 thoughts, 10 thoughts in 1 minute or 2 minutes. And by the time you realize, oh, I tapped out, you can't remember everything that you thought of. You might be able to pull out a few things, or maybe the very last thing that you were thinking about before you caught yourself in that disassociation. Like the video, if this is resonating for you guys. Oh, look, that's another distraction though. So Spirit wants you to be cognizant of when certain thoughts pop up into your mind that aren't aligned with the meditations and with the intentions that you've been setting for yourself. A while ago, we talked about how sometimes, or not even sometimes, majority of times, the thoughts that cross our mind are not ours, and we tend to give ourselves a lot of slack and feel bad and say, well, I have to change this, I have to, like, what's wrong with me, why can't I, all of these things, when at the end of the day, that might not be your thought that you're dealing with. That might be the thought of your mom, or it might be the thought of an uncle, or it might be the thought of somebody an old teacher, So your brain is repeating these narratives, not necessarily because it's true, but because it's familiar, right? We're creatures of habits. Humans are creatures of habit. So just because we're doing something, saying something, repeating a cycle doesn't mean that this is true, or it doesn't mean that it's even like good for us. So Spirit just wants you to be cognizant of when certain things pop up for you. Where did this narrative originate from? Where did it stem from? Is this really you? Is this your higher self? Is this your spirit team? Is this how you talk to yourself? If it's not how you talk to yourself, if it's not how your spirit team talks to you, reject it aloud. Or even intentionally reject. If you can't reject it aloud because you might be in a public space, intentionally reject it internally. No, I don't accept this. You might be thinking, like, you might be working on, I don't know, you might be reading. I'll just use myself for an example. I catch myself all the time when I'm doing my readings. I might be like, 15 minutes in or something. Usually around the 25-minute mark, my brain starts to feel like wah, 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 wah. And I have to go back and reread because I'm like, okay, I missed the whole 2 pages because I had been reading ish, right? But I had been ruminating, thinking about something else. And a lot of times those thoughts are not, what am I going to eat for dinner tonight, right? A lot of times those thoughts are not, oh, I can't wait for graduation, in a way. But really it's like, damn, remember when you did that stupid ass shit? It's more times where it's gonna be like, do you remember that stupid ass shit that you did? Let's replay that whole situation, and let's think about every single dumb thing that you did. Like, you know, Spirit is saying when you catch yourself in these periods, when you catch yourself in these moments, you have to intentionally say no. You have to intentionally say, I don't accept this. I reject this. This is not me. This is not my higher self. And I don't claim this thought. It's not mine. And you can command it into the light as well, right? We talk about like return to senders. It's easier to, in the moment, return to senders to a certain extent. You have to do a level. You have to do steps. You need tools. I mean, you can use your words, but in a similar fashion, you can also command things into the light. And I think that is a good way to avoid negative consequences on your end too, because when we do return to sender, sometimes we assume that the majority or the bulk or all, for that matter, of the negative energy is coming from or has been sent from a specific person without realizing our part in what's going on. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot your don't, please. Don't shoot the messenger. But a lot of times we know that that's the truth, right? We want to be upset with people for how they choose to handle us, but we don't necessarily take into account the fact that we let them handle us for way too long. And we saw how they were we saw that they were mishandling us, right? Now my phone is on 10%. Is this gonna be a trend? Like doing lives on 10%? You saw people were mishandling you. It's your job to then intentionally step away. You can choose to check them or you can choose to just step away. Either one is a completion and a closure, you know? So there's that. Be nicer, be nice to yourself as you're going through these phases. You already have enough narratives running through your head and through your thoughts that are trying to bog you down, trying to get you to be shameful, trying to get you to judge yourself for where you are and what you've had to do and what you've gone through, because you're looking at other people and you like, well, Susie didn't have to go through this. Michael didn't have to deal with all of this, you know? It's crazy because I grew up with Chuck, and granted, his childhood did seem a little bit harder than mine, but all of a sudden he just kind of came up and it's almost like we switched places. Where are these thoughts coming from? Because if you really take a look around at your life, do you really want Chuck, Michael, Susie's life? I don't think that's really what you want. I think you're ruminating on the negative and you're letting it overtake your perspective to a certain extent. We have card number 30 here with Hallowed Heart, Veneration, Sensuality, Gentleness, and Nakedness. I love this card specifically because I can't even see, like, okay, there we go. I love this card specifically because it always reminds me of like divine feminine energy. She has roses literally coming out of her heart. And not the ideal heart that we think of, like, no, like this is the actual organ, like, and she's asleep or she looks to be resting, right? It looks like it's nighttime, so she's under a cloud. She might be under the moon. It looks like there's stars or maybe snow around her, but she looks well rested. Look at her face. She looks very content. Her hand is on her sacral chakra, right? This gives big feminine energy. And I'll go ahead and get this one out the deck too. Spirit said no. When you feel like you don't necessarily know how to, well, first of all, Spirit is saying it's not your job to change the thoughts that occur to you, but it is your job to observe them and place them. Almost said compartmentalize. Spirit said place them, because you can choose to keep them here. We can also move emotions throughout our body, right? You might feel it here, but eventually it might come here, right? But for us, for those of us that it doesn't move from here, if it's heartache, right? We're talking about the not necessarily the highest frequency emotions that we all love to feel, right? When you feel it here, but you can't get it to move here, right? You can't vocalize how you feel, or you won't, you're choosing not to. Well, then guess what? It's going to move down. It's going to move down. What's directly underneath the heart chakra? Your sacral chakra. That's your self-confidence, self-esteem, your willpower. Is connected to the sun, the actions that you take, putting yourself out there to be seen, to be perceived. So now you have all of these narratives that aren't even yours, these trash ass narratives that aren't even yours. And because you didn't express it, right, and let it out, because when it comes to the throat chakra, it comes out. Now, granted, it comes out to the universe to then make do with whatever you said. But if you are actively transmuting these thoughts, dealing with them, working with them, placing them back to the light, sending them back to the light, I command you to the light, right? When you're doing that type of work, well, then you've placed it outside of you. And it might come back to see how you still feel about it, to see if you still got the back door. Oh, close that back door. Can't get snaked out by some thoughts that ain't mine, right? Shout out Dirk. Okay? But at the end of the day, we don't want it to keep moving down. You don't want it to affect your self-esteem, because the first thing that that's going to do is going to make you want to hide and isolate. And we were just talking about being in communities, and how being in community allows you to be lifted up, even during those periods where you feel like you don't want you just don't want to see nothing. You don't want to deal with nothing. You don't want to see nothing. You don't want to see no light, no body, no nothing. You just want to be by yourself so you can fix it. But this is not the time for that. Spirit says this is actually one of the most difficult times to be an individual and working on yourself. We always talk about, we got the closing circle upside down. This is time for you to be out in community, not necessarily to just gain a whole bunch of healing, but also to offer your skills. You are skilled and you are talented. You are gifted, and people need to hear what you have to say. We talk about this all the time. People need to experience your gifts. Your hands are magical. You guys are Reiki practitioners. You guys are gymnasts. You guys are massage therapists, acupuncture therapists. People need you. They need your work. They need your experience. They need your light. They need your stories. Your stories. They need your stories, not the stories that are ruminating up in here that's not even yours and that's trying to make you hide. Those are not your stories. These are stories that you can use to catapult you and advance your the enhancements that you're making in your life, but these are not your stories, my babe. So we need to get rid of that. Spirit is saying there are some things where it's time to get rid of that, so that you can feel more comfortable in community. And I'm a part of the community. I'm a legend too. Like, we're all dealing with very similar things. For me specifically, I really don't like to be like, when I'm chilling and winding down, if I'm having my winding down tings, my little, I call it my wood, or my little glass of champagne, I'm not trying to be in nobody's face. I'm not. But sometimes I do feel like there are things that I need to do, like even if I'm in the middle of my resting, my chilling, which honestly, in my opinion, is nothing wrong with that. But then having to break out of that cocoon because I feel like, okay, there's something that I need to do. There's something on my heart that I need to say, right? There's something that I need to get out. And if I wait, it won't come out as clean. It won't come out as authentic. Then when I have to break out of that shell and come and deliver a message, sometimes I feel like, enough, let me go back into my shell. Like, I was like, what are you doing? Why are you looking at me? Like, that's just how I am. So I understand. But Spirit is saying it's just not the time for that. Or it's not even necessarily that it's not the time for that. You have outgrown being in that stage. You've outgrown hiding yourself away from the public, no matter what you look like. Also, Spirit is saying, have you seen some of the stuff that's on the internet? Think about how you talk to yourself versus the craziest thing. Y'all know, like, I scroll on TikTok every now and then. I really don't like TikTok, but every now and then I will scroll, and then I'll cut it off because some of the people that are on TikTok live, I'm just like, and now granted they made it open to where kind of everybody could do TikTok live, but sometimes I just look and I'm like, and I'm reading the comments. I'm not judging necessarily, but I am comparing. Because what I'm comparing is the standards that I hold for myself to the way I see people reacting to something that I would, in my opinion, I would never allow myself to come out like this. I would never allow myself to look like this. I would never say these things. And if certain things were to be said in my head, I would, oh my God, you guys should hear. You guys should hear the way that I crucify myself sometimes. So Spirit is saying, be careful about the way that you speak about yourself. Be careful about the things that you accept as truth. Whose truth is that? Whose truth is that? And when you get into these communities, that doesn't mean just saturate yourself in anything and everything that's coming to you, because we talked about this too. When you are in a state of abundance, literally everything is attracted to abundance. The bees, the flies, the maggots, the everything, the sun, the rain, everything. Every being is attracted to things with bright light and high frequency. You know, every being on earth wants a piece of that. I'm convinced. Because there's life force energy there. It's not just about, it's bright. It's, it's about the life force energy. It's about the frequency. It's about the ability to not only just be here, but to feel, right? I hope this is making sense. And I've been yapping for a minute at this point, but shout out tribe, shout out legend gang. Don't forget to like this video if it's resonating with you guys. Subscribe to the channel. You guys know you always come back because y'all are amazing. Like, we're legends. This is what we do. We just link up and we just be legendary. That's just what we do. But yeah, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully in the next couple weeks I will pick up with, I might start showing you guys my plants. I did restart up the botanical garden. So in the next couple weeks, if you guys would like, I'll give you an update as to what the botanical garden looks like. So you guys know I also moved to university, so I moved like across the state basically. So I'm no longer connected to the garden that I showed you guys in the previous couple months, even though I did do some good work there. It was other people helping me too. It wasn't just me working on that garden. But I did want to start over again. It was difficult for me to keep an indoor garden in that house too, just because of the circumstances. But we've been started again because I just can't help myself. I love this life. And I'm excited. I have lemon basil growing. I have spicy globe bush basil. It's either spicy globe bush basil or spicy bush globe something in that realm. So I have 2 basils. We have some beefsteak tomato. I have lavender. First time I've ever been able to grow lavender from seed. What else do I have? I have some ryegrass. That's just for manifestation purposes. I used to think it was edible. Not edible, okay? At least for humans. What else do I have that's growing currently? I have a lot of things. So if you guys want, I'll give you an update on the botanical garden. And yeah, let me pull one more card before we tap out of here, just to see if we have some advice on how to be, like, being nice to yourself. Like, how, when I feel all these things, like, I do my meditations, I pray, I light my candles, I keep some water by my bed, we keep it clean, we sage, we smudge, we See our counselors, like, what else? What else do you want from me? Type. That's the type energy. I hear you guys, and I feel you. I really do. I really do. Make sure you are make sure in your communities that you're opening yourself to, make sure you still are using discernment to know when certain people, why certain people are around you. I keep hearing deception, deceive. Spirit says, if you are being deceived in your